AITAH for being angry. My husband rekindled his friendship with his old bestie. Apologies for the long rant. Before we met, 5 years ago, my husband was best friends with the cousin of his son's mother. I have to add that his relationship with his son's mother is not a good one due to her abusive tendencies, which I have witnessed. At the start of our relationship, my husband's BM would make comments about me which my husband told me about. She accused me of being a camgirl, prostitute, and made general reports about pictures I posted, bearing in mind I had blocked her. I met my husband's best friend, who I will name Alexandra, and we got along. We'd often hang out together when I was visiting my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time. He'd make comments about how good we were together, and he even invited me to a spot. A few months later, my husband receives a message from Alexandra saying that my husband had sent a picture of some bloody sheets to their mutual friend saying, "This is how you fuck," and that he found that behavior to be disgusting. I was with my husband at the time he received the message, and he claimed that it was a lie, so responded as if he was shocked and confused. Alexandra responded angrily and told my husband to fuck off. I believed my husband at the time. A few months after that, me and husband moved in together. I then learned from his BM that Alexandra had been the one who told her I was a camgirl, and that he'd been stalking my Instagram random and reporting to her, that he'd made comments saying that my husband moving in with me was the worst decision of his life and that, I don't like them too, all they do is stare at each other. I'd had a suspicion that he had been the one reporting back to her, so I wasn't surprised. After 4 months of us living together, Alexandra messaged my phone to tell me that the bedsheet text my husband sent did actually happen. At the time I was terribly ill, so I didn't have the energy to question why he would go to the extent of getting my number to tell me that months after my husband cut off contact with him. When I told my husband that he had messaged me, he didn't seem angry, nor did he confront him to tell him stop spreading lies. Therefore I believed my husband's innocence, as I thought it was a ploy to break us up. Years go by and Alexandra reached out to my husband, and he acts as if nothing had happened, which infuriated me, as this man who posed as a berries had tried to break us up and spoke about us behind our backs. This him reaching out and my husband acting as if nothing happened went on 2 separate occasions, and apparently my husband forgot what happened. That's how insignificant those comments were to him. I ended up very upset on both occasions, and I expressed that I didn't feel like he was defending me, to which he apologized and told me he had expressed to Alexandra that he wanted no further contact. I felt very betrayed by my husband, but learned to forgive him, as I know this was his best friend, so it may have been hard for him to have conflict with someone who was so close. The thing that bothered me the most is that he had no problem starting conflict with random men if they made a pass towards me without him being present, which I don't see the issue with, as they clearly don't know I'm in a relationship. As I've finally laid the whole thing to rest, discover that Alexandra and my husband are now friends again. I saw a message on WhatsApp under a nickname, let's say Alex, which piqued my suspicion, so I asked my husband who Alex was. His response was something along the lines of he's an old friend, so I obviously thought that was someone from his past who I didn't know, because clearly if it was Alexandra he would have said that, and it tried to pass it off as some randomer I've never heard of. I find out that Alex is in fact Alexandra because my husband's son says that he's picking up his uncle Alexandra, to which I question, bum's cousin Alexandra. He replies yes. I was in complete shock that my husband had forgiven this man and allows him back into his life, and right now I'm questioning whether the bedsheet situation was a lie, or did my husband lie to me, because him rekindling the crimson after that isn't making sense to me. Is my husband in the wrong, or am I overreacting, because I do have a habit of doing that?